Back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. Today will be the Orville, Episode 3, About a Girl, the recap and review, or a review and somewhat of a recap. I'll also be talking about Episode 2, because I hadn't had an opportunity to talk about Episode 2 of the Orville yet as well. I'll also be talking, giving an overview of my thoughts of the series American Vandal that just got released on Netflix a couple days ago. I'm just waking up, so I still have that rust on my voice. You know, that morning, it's not quite morning wood, it's more like morning disgustiosity or something like that. But I'm here, and I want to make sure I get this cast in no matter what the hell else I have to do later today. So here I am out, and I'm also going to be talking about one other thing. The series, or the second series, Season 2, I don't know, what country am I from? The second season premiere of the television show Vice Principals on HBO, starring Danny McBride and Walter Goggins, I think that's his name. Oh yeah, let's dance. Wake up, motherfuckers! Good morning! I've been realizing I've been coming out here a lot more in the afternoon and the morning hours, but what the fuck? If I need to find excuses and reasons and all sorts of opportunities to come out here and talk to you guys about television, movies, video games, all that sort of stuff, I need to just fit the Tetris blocks in wherever the fuck I can put them. Unfortunately, or unfortunately right now, because of a lack of employment opportunities, but that might change on Thursday. At any point in time, things may change and daytime activities may be more difficult again. So I'm trying to get as much of this shit slapped against the wall, start to move the needle, start to push the show a little bit more. So everybody out there, if you're watching this and you enjoy what we do, if it's the first time or the last time, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button. Join us all year for more fun. And coming up, Star Trek Discovery comes out this Sunday. Our next live stream will be Sunday evening after probably around 10:30 p.m. around the Walking Dead, Game of Thrones time to talk about the season premiere, the series premiere of Star Trek Discovery with Joe Dirtylocks. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this. Let's touch ourselves inappropriately about these last couple of episodes. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about the Orville and the last two episodes of the Orville. Last night's episode called About a Girl. It's interesting to talk about last week's episode without addressing episode 2 first. So as much as I am going to be recapping episode 3 that just happened last night, I need to talk about episode 2 first. So first off, if anyone hasn't listened to my initial review of the series of Orville, the premiere episode did not whelm me an incredible amount. It did not. I think I said I was whelmed, not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed. I was just simply, well, whelmed. And I definitely enjoyed some elements of that first episode. I did. But unfortunately for my interest, I didn't like the Seth factor as much in the first episode. I feel like he felt, at least to me, in watching, in the first episode, he felt a little nervous. It felt like he wasn't truly relaxing into this role. He was trying to balance a lot of balls on his head in that first episode. At least that's the vibe I got from it. Could be completely way off on that one. It just seemed to me like he was having trouble finding his moments, finding out what kind of voice he was on this ship. What is the captain essentially on Orville? Is it going to be like the Star Trek series where the captain is infallible to a certain extent and maybe can do things wrong but has a sense of regalness to him, so to speak, that Kirk, Picard, Sisko, and Janeway all had? Fuck Archer. But no, I don't think that's the way that they're going with this series. They're going a little bit different and more, he's one of the guys kind of thing. And I feel like they're starting to get that voice a little bit better in the second couple of episodes. Not just that, Seth's mannerisms and his style is working for me more in episodes 2 and 3. Specifically 2. From these last 2 episodes that we got, and I'm going to break them down a little bit in a bit, but kind of bold strokes here. I really enjoyed episode 2. Episode 2 was probably, Iron Throne said this in a message to me or in a post that he put on the Discord group, but ultimately the second episode might have been my favorite Star Trek episode in a long time, at least since Voyager, and maybe even since the last season of Deep Space Nine. I really liked episode 2. I feel like it correctly balanced what's awesome about that generation of Star Trek and what could be awesome about a show made by Seth and his team to balance the humor perfectly. I think episode 2 did that better than any other episode this season. Oh, there's only been 3. But any other episode of a Star Trek wannabe thing or a Star Trek movie that's come out since then, I feel like it felt to me what 90s Trek felt like. And episode 3 was really good. I think episode 3, the problem I had with 3 is that it came after 2. Is that 2 was so good and I saw it so recently to 3 that it was hard for me to get over how awesome I thought the second episode was. I thought episode 3 last night was good. They took a subject that could have been done in a really big fucking joke or really made it way too heavy-handed about something. And instead of doing both those things, they walk that fine line on shitting on something and making a point. That, I would call it the South Park Mendoza line. That line that South Park and some other shows run, where it's how much is just fuck this, fuck the world, I'm ragging on everybody, everyone gets a even share of the baseball bat across their ass, of the paddle across their ass, and how much of this is ultimately like too heavy-handed, like, look here, everybody, now you need to save the dolphins, you know, like just like really ham-fisted into it, like fisting, bending you over and sticking that fist of feel good about yourself, you know, feel good about this subject, you know, this is how you should feel kind of thing. I think what Trek does at its best on something like Deep Space Nine, I feel like I got some of that in this episode, is showing you all the different alien species and realizing that most of Star Trek comes from a very narrow perspective of the Federation or in the Orville, the Union. So I feel like, yeah, these are going to be episodic, but we had our first example in the last 2 episodes of a storyline carrying its way through episode 2 into episode 3. And I really like that. I as I said, might have liked episode 3 better, but I mean episode 2 better, but episode 3 kind of it was able to knock in the runners that episode 2 set up there without being too like, oh, here, this is how you should feel, motherfuckers, me. So I thought that was pretty well done. And I think the show is, at least to my understanding, feels like it's taking itself more seriously in a Star Trek kind of sense. There are some elements of it here and there that throw in these jokes that don't necessarily feel like it's in the same universe to me, but also feels like they're just, okay, yeah, we remembered we're a spoof show. You know, whereas those moments are funny, and some of them are really funny. Everything that we got with Kermit the Frog in episode 2 was really great. And again, I'll break it down a little bit. We've had some jokes that really fly for me, and they're not going to fly for everybody. Or some are going to fly for people that aren't going to fly for me. But I think the show, I think that's a refreshing kind of thing about it. As much as in the first episode review, I said, the show needs to figure out what the fuck it's doing, but it needs to do one or the other. I think that sense of refreshment to it all gives it a sense. It doesn't make it feel like a Seth MacFarlane show at all. I don't think any element of it feels Seth MacFarlane, except for the fact that Seth MacFarlane's in it. Like, and maybe the Norm Macdonald section in the last episode felt a little bit, but still, it feels like a different kind of comedy. Like, the comedy feels more Mel Brooksian at times. Like, that it's ragging on something, but it's still keeping the heart of it within it. I don't know. I'm kind of spinning around in these second 2 episodes. The first episode, I was not as big of a fan as some were, and I was not as big of a hater as some other people. But episode 2 was legit good Star Trek. I want to get into breaking down these episodes because it's ridiculous how many points that are so fucking Star Trek-y in these series, even to the point of one of the characters' voices sounds like fucking Data all the time. They have to check the fucking IamAdouchebag.com to see if it actually is Brent Spiner. But also, as I mentioned, if people are like, Orville, I don't want to hear you talk about that Orville shit. Fuck Star Trek, Phil. Well, don't tune in on Sunday. But still, I'm also going to be talking about 2 other shows by the end here, as I see that some people are going to start to trickle on in here. And we have some friends in the live motherfucking chat. We got Mel and Corey popping on in here. Probably have some other friends popping on in around throughout the live stream. I've seen the first 2 episodes. The show has potential, but the first 2 episodes have seemed to have stuff missing, as Corey said. Episode 3, you'll probably feel the same way about. I guess after episode 1, I had no hope. Not no hope. I had no hope for Seth MacFarlane as captain of this show. And I had doubts about the direction in which this is going. After episodes 2, which seems like, is this, I agree that some stuff is missing in 2. Because I feel like and I'll talk about this more boldly, to boldly go where no reviewer has gone before. But episode 2, I think half of it works. I think everything that happens on the ship for me really works. All the Alara, or whatever her name is, taking over the ship. I fucking love her as a character. I love all the B-level characters. Again, the Seth and his wife on the planet in the zoo, like that Data episode, All Little Things or whatever it's called, the episode where Data gets kidnapped by Daphne's husband there or something from Frasier. Oh shit! I pushed a button. Let me fix it. Is that better? That's better. I feel like it had some potential, but was missing something. And I think what it's missing is, again, somewhat the half steps of it all. But I feel like in some parts of 2 and 3, you can feel that this is at least my approximation, they got more Trekkie than they thought they could get. And because of that, I feel like they're still figuring it out. It's not, I think as you see this show go further and further, if it does, you're going to see less and less comedy. And you're going to see more funny Star Trek. Because at times when this show is good, and it has its moments where it's really good, I feel like I'm legitimately watching an episode of that era of Star Trek, 90s, early 2000 era Star Trek, and this is just a lost tale. I'll talk about this in my breakdowns, but I can't say it enough now. The music that they pick for this fucking show, the music that they have, the Star Trekian music that they have in this show is insane how accurate it is. To the point where, at times, I wonder if they're just borrowing Star Trek music. Like The Next Generation. Dun, 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 dun. Like that sort of shit. I'm watching it, and I turn to Stephanie, and I'm like, that's Star Trek music. And she's like, actually, they're changing one note there at the end, or something she said. And I'm like, it elicits those kind of emotions. And I have to say, having been down on episode 1 of the season, 2 and 3 got me a lot more hopeful for the future of this series and for the future of Star Trek on television, especially if Discovery's good too. Then we get clusterfucked by something that can give me as a Star Trek fan that feel of 90s Star Trek, that feel of something a little bit more, not going to say lighthearted, but of a different age, that I feel like on some level we didn't get enough of. And then with Discovery, we have what could be, we'll know more on Sunday, what could be actually progressing with Star Trek. And I know it's going to be prequel-ish series, but it's still going to be new Trek in the Trek lexicon, in the universe of Star Trek. It's going to keep progressing. So maybe we'll get something unique and different, a little darker, a little bit more towards, for my interests, a little bit more towards the darker, more serious stuff of Deep Space Nine, while still having a sense of humor to it all, while still having that Trek feel. I hope it isn't raw for the sense of ooh, baby, I like it raw. I don't like my Star Trek too raw. No. I hope it's not raw for the sense of raw, but if it works, we could. And I know I'm Mr. Hopeful. I'm like setting up my dominoes and hoping my little cousin doesn't knock him over again for the 7,000th time. But ultimately, I think we're in a good place to be a Star Trek fan right now. If Orville is going to give us even every few episodes an episode that can feel Trekkie, like real Trekkie, and Discovery can give us some new stuff, I think we're in a good potential situation. Phil, hey Phil, motherfucking chat, can't stay because I'm swamped at work today. Just stopped by to say some love. Corey says the prostitute colon stuff with his dad and mom was kind of. I agree with that. That's to me what felt a little too. Okay, we need to put jokes in here because this episode's too serious. How can we fit some humor in here? Oh yeah, let's cast Jeffrey Tambor in however you pronounce his last name. Let's cast him in here and have some wacky jokes going on back and forth about Seth's colon and shit. I feel like that was a weird tone to it comparatively to the rest of the episode, which felt real sci-fi to me. His ex-wife is also pretty good in the show. However, the buddy-buddy relationship with the drunk pilot and Token is not really working. They sort of feel awkward team-building experiences. I had to work a lot of feigned interest and awkwardness all around. But seriously, how much fun would Orville be if Seth just did it in Stewie's voice constantly? It would be amazing. That, or if, as I said before, if, like, you know, somebody else was, some other actor was starring in that. But I agree with you. My least favorite part after 3 episodes now, is no longer Seth. It's the two pilots that seem like it's forced banter with the two of them together. Like, hey, we need to put the two of these guys together to have banter. Hey, there's banter. And they're also the voice or the springboard for how the rest of the ship feels about everything. So it's a little, we're mad at you. We're happy with you. We're mad. Maybe if they give them episodes, they'll be explored better as characters, but they seem more like furniture, more background furniture than characters. Whereas Alara, whatever her name is, the security officer, the Klingon dude, the sitting on the egg Klingon dude, whatever. I have it all written down, but that guy and then the Data android robot thing interest me enough that I feel they're well-rounded and I want to know more about their character shit. So, and I agree, the first officer I think works really well. I think she has decent chemistry with Seth and they have an interesting dynamic that works on some level. I like her in episode 3 a lot too. She's funny and she balances things off well on the cast. And so I do have some hopeful points if they can figure out the right balance of good versus evil on that show. So let's not waste any more time. Let me get into a little bit of a recap of episode 2 and 3. Start with Iron Fist, but funny. Oh, wait, do I, Matt going into Daredevil. Holy shit. Whoopsies. I sent myself the wrong PDF file. I meant to send myself a different PDF file that has the review of these 2 episodes. Give me a second while I have to type things into my computer. Computer, please work, computer. Let's see if I can make this work, motherfucker. Download. Why aren't you downloading? Showing me my downloads. See, as I can't. I'm completely stupid. I'm completely stupid unless I have my. Oh, here we go. I got it. Unless I have my notes, I can't talk. I don't know anything I'm saying. So this is Orville, and these are. I'm going to be talking about episode 2 first, but let me get through both episodes. Now, this episode 2 for me was legitimately funny. The music in it's so close to Star Trek: The Next Generation. The kind of emotions it sets. It's a lot more relaxed than episode 1, and some of the humor was generally funny. Specifically, all the egg jokes. I think that was probably Seth MacFarlane's best comic exchange so far for the Orville. The whole egg things. I like my egg scrambled. I want my egg this. I forget exactly what it was. I don't have the word for word notes down there, but in episode 2, the whole egg thing I thought was the funniest section of jokes in the entire series so far. Fuck it, Corey. You're fucking. That's exactly what I was saying. Corey just said, I'm not a huge Trekkie fan, but fan in the least, but is that Data that does the voice of the one guy that sounds like him a lot? No, it's not. It should be. I don't know if they tried to get Brent Spiner or they ultimately told the actor that's playing him or the actor that's playing him decided to just do a blatant Brent Spiner as Data ripoff because that's what he's doing. I hope they bring more of that alien race into it or those android race or whatever the fuck they are and have Brent Spiner play the queen of them all or something or the king because it's it's not I was gonna say it's not even funny, but it is kind of funny. It's not even an exaggeration to say that they are completely doing a Data voice ripoff. I also like in episode 2 how and on that note, I think I have to get some early morning technical difficulties here. I think I really liked how the replicators, how they're messing with the replicators. To me, this is the kind of stuff that feels really good as a spoof series. When they do things like this, when they take elements and facts of the Star Trek world and they mess with them a little bit, like having the replicator replicate marijuana treats or marijuana edible. So she goes over, gets a weed edible. Everything about this episode seems like Star Trek Next Generation. It's like one of those episodes where Wesley Crusher or Deanna end up, or where Beverly Crusher and Deanna end up in charge of the ship. There's a couple of episodes of Next Generation. For whatever worth, all the main officers are out and Deanna ends up having to be in charge of the ship, or Crusher ends up as charge of the ship. Now, I kept continuing with this. Even at the commercial breaks, it seemed like you were watching an episode of Next Generation. It's fucking eerie at times. I continue to love the bridge crew, especially the security officer, Alara, or whatever her name is, and the wharf-like creature laying an egg is a fun touch, while everyone else was more or less a background character. I think in general, they did a good job at casting this cast. I think they have pretty damn good chemistry. Even as I'm not the biggest Seth MacFarlane fan, him and his ex-wife work well together. They have a good 1-2 balance that works really efficiently in this episode. And I think it makes him better when he's in scenes with her. Is Picard smoking pot in that picture? Lots of smoke in there and giggling pretty hard. Pretty sure he's smoking something. I don't know what Picard's doing, and I don't know what that sandwich is in the bottom corner. I don't fucking... I Boo. Excellent chemistry. The naked sitting on the egg part was fucking hilarious. Lots of great replication shots in this, just of the replicator work. There was a couple of other shots with it getting booze, with it getting a double shot of tequila here and all that sort of stuff. Some of the jokes still don't hit for me. I said this in my notes for episode 2. I almost want the show to take itself even more serious than it does because it's such good world building going on at times. And just to connect two shows that I'm talking about, I think the stepfather of American Vandal, and who's Dylan's stepfather, is the same guy who plays the engineer of the Orville. For anyone who's seen American Vandal yet, and I'm going to be talking about that after I'm done with Orville, that we have some crossover appeal from American Vandal. The guy who plays Dylan's stepfather is the same guy who plays the engineer in the show Orville. Pretty funny. Real sense of intensity in this whole episode, especially the stuff on the ship. We get a Star Wars name drop by Cassidy Yates, which is Worlds Colliding. Cassidy Yates, who plays the Doctor on this show, was on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I don't know her character's name. I still don't know characters' names. I am sorry. And so I'm calling them by their either somewhat names, their character-like specific traits, or who they've played in other things. So Cassidy Yates here does a "I'm your Obi-Wan" kind of comment, which I thought was really funny. We got Kermit the Frog making a guest appearance, which it's hard to explain, but there was something very honest in what Seth MacFarlane was saying there in this moment that I think he really believes that from a standpoint of him as a showrunner and him and his quote-unquote empire that he's created. Well, I don't know, quote-unquote. His Seth MacFarlane empire he's created. I think he actually does think Kermit the Frog was a good leader and someone he should emulate. And I said in this episode, again, at this point, he seems a lot more relaxed here. Now, not much else to say about it, because I'm not going to recap it point for point, but really good episode, good one-liners, felt like a Star Trek episode. Did anyone else think one of the aliens in the zoo looked like Pinhead? Or was it Pinhead? In the zoo in the episode 2, we have... It basically ends up with the captain and the first officer stuck in some sort of zoo on this planet with a bunch of alien race that looks down on them. And the conclusion to the whole episode was kind of cheesy, but whatever. When they're actually in the prison, we see a couple of other alien species, and one of them looks exactly like Pinhead from the Hellraiser series. I mean, like, they had to be going for just making Pinhead, because it doesn't just resemble Pinhead, it is fucking Pinhead. The ship looks like it's out of Mass Effect. Still wondering how long it is until a Seth Green cameo. Seth Green would be awesome on this show. And he loves Star Trek just as much, and obviously he's part of Family Guy. Seth Green, in a weird way, would have been a better... Like, I'm not going to say he would have been a better captain, but he should have been the pilot, if that makes sense to you. Not the secondary pilot, the dude that's his buddy. The dude that's Seth's buddy. The guy that's probably my least favorite member of the whole entire crew. The dude that plays I'm the pilot that can get out of anything. I feel like that should have been Seth Green. Or he wanted that to be Seth Green originally and had to cast somebody else in it. I don't know. It's just that's just a me thing. I think I hope Seth Green shows up on this show because I could see him in this universe very extreme amount. Hell yeah, I said Cassidy Yates is the Doctor as being this Whoopi Goldberg, and the conclusion of everything with the reality TV stuff was cheesy, but it was fun, I guess. I didn't really get it. I didn't even know what show that they were spoofing. I was like, I had to look it up, but whatever. It worked for what it was trying to do, I guess. And it was a cheesy little cap to the whole joke setup. But I thought that storyline could have been fixed a little bit better. I feel like that was a little cartoony compared to some of the other things that happened. The lead up, the Data-like creature going down there and talking about how they're kidnapping the humans. I expected a different sort of response other than, oh, here's this stuff, and that being the conclusion to it all. I'm not saying what it is because I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, there's that. And the conclusion of the episode with the baby being born as a female to a race of all male creatures, where only I think they talk about it more in episode 2, where only like 2% of the population is ever born as a female. And most of the people that are born as females have sex changes. So they have this like huge moment at the end of the episode where the dude's been sitting on the egg the whole time, and ultimately he ends up giving birth to a girl, which is a carry through into episode 3. So that was my reviews or thoughts, recap and review of episode 2 of the Orville. I thought it was really well done. Best of the 3 episodes for me so far. But as we lead into episode 3, which I didn't not like, but I didn't like as much as 2, I feel like it takes itself, and I mentioned this at the beginning. Some people might watch that episode of Orville and be like, oh, it shows too ham-fisted trying to tell me something. Blah, 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 blah. Get out of my head. Yeah, fuck you. Some people might say, oh, God, he made light of a fucking serious situation, and Seth MacFarlane sucks, and he doesn't care about people. Fuck you, too. I feel like this episode did a fine job at walking that line, of walking the line of being offensive to everybody and making a point. Okay? I think it worked really well. And so this episode is all about how, because they had that baby that's female and every other creature on their planet basically is a dude, that they want the Doctor. It reminds me also of the episode of Next Generation where Worf breaks his back. And he wants Riker and Beverly to kill him because a Klingon that can't fight isn't worth shit. So they take that and they put it, and they make an interesting choice where they make a race of gender unified creatures that are all sort of, male bound, and they have a female baby. And so they want to do a sex change of a baby. And then all the humans on the ship, the Doctor and the captain, are like, fuck no, we can't do that. That's fucked up. And the aliens are like, no, it's not fucked up. It's how we do it's what we do on our planet. So ultimately the alien creatures call say, fuck you Federation, or the Union, whatever they're called. We're calling in our alien big buddies. So they call in their their race of aliens, whatever they're, the Klingons. I don't even know what they're called. I have it written down somewhere, but the Klingons. And the Klingons show up and they're like, yeah, we're part of the Union, but we're going to take that baby and forcibly sex change it. And they're like, no, fuck you. We're going to have war about this. We're going to fight over this. So ultimately it gets arranged that they're going to have a court case about it. They go have a court case on the planet, on the alien planet. And the whole court case goes, we have that big moment where our good guys, so to speak, give the speech that's supposed to change the mind of the situation. But ultimately, it all concludes in what I think a very rewarding way. a way that I'm glad they didn't go in any other direction with it. I think part of what makes it good in the end is how they conclude it. Because of, I don't want to spoil too much of the episode, but I think it asks a lot of really cool questions and really felt, again, like a Star Trek debate. Like that Star Trek thing. There's so much of this in Deep Space Nine of Quark yells at Sisko about this and the siege of AR-51 or whatever it is, AR whatever. You know, Star Trek fans know the episode I'm talking about. Where he just starts yelling at Sisko, you give us Ferengi shit because we remind you of you asshole. And you're thinking of it from your narrow human perspective. And that's what we get in this episode. Pinhead, the voice of logic and reason. Pinhead was a really nice guy, a creature spawned from hellfire. So I think that this episode, funny enough, really walked that line great and gave us a good Star Trek debate. And I think the conclusion of it was satisfying, and all the beats in it worked really well too. I think for the most part, that element of this episode was done really well. I guess I just didn't, some of the stuff on the ship in episode 2 I enjoyed a little bit more. So let's look a little bit back on episode 3. The bigness of the ship, Norm Macdonald's slime is funny as fuck. It was almost like watching Pigeon from the Mike Tyson thing. Norm, I don't know if they're going to make Norm a bigger part of the show as time goes on, but Norm shows up and he's trying to fuck somebody, and he's just totally Norm Macdonald in this episode and kills it as Norm Macdonald. Trying to date Cassidy Yates. To the child, make male again, very Trek. It's an old school, anything Captain related I like. Anything no Captain related on this show I like especially. We get a Westworld holodeck moment, or Three Amigos holodeck moment. I thought this was done really funny too. A shout out to DS9 a little bit with the holodeck stuff. And where the guy that they're fighting, they think you're setting up in this Old West showdown, and I'll spoil this joke, whatever. And instead, the holodeck program is programmed for a dance-off, so it's like, let's have a dance-off instead of a shoot-off here. And I thought that was done well. I think the fact of including a holodeck in this world makes it, again, feel more Star Trek-y, and I thought this section was done pretty well. A little cheesy, but pretty good. Great Star Trek human perspective thing, looking at things like only humans, and that's a Star Trek thing, especially from Next Generation, where we don't necessarily always get the alternate perspective. Sometimes we get it through Picard talking about the like some of the rules and stuff that they have that they can't break. And so, hey, how's it going? Oh my God, have I died in heaven? This is Phil every day. What the fuck is happening, Tebow? It's scary. It's fucking scary. So ultimately, the Picard and the what is it called? No, I don't have any crazy Star Trek fans for Picard in the first contact, baby. No, first contact. Federation rules. Federation rules Star Trek. So I think this show, again, this episode did, I'm sorry, I'm like, Prime Directive. I don't know why I couldn't think of the Prime Directive. It's been so long since I talked about Star Trek. So many things are laying dormant in my mind. And as I go to reach for them sometimes, and as time goes on and I eat too many sandwiches and I get older and everything starts drying up, it's going to get harder and harder for me to reach back and pull out those random things. So at times, we're going to see as the future of this podcast, you want to see the future of this podcast? We'll go into Star Trek. Future of this podcast is this. And then I was talking about... What was I talking about? It's going to be shit like that. But Timo, thank you so much. I hope you are feeling better. Will, why does everyone online seem to view this show as Star Trek Next Generation Light? Isn't it better to view it as The Office in space? Interesting perspective, Will Adams. See, I don't necessarily view it as Star Trek Next Generation Light. What I view it as, when it works at the best, I do think it has some elements of something like The Office. I can see where you're going with on that. And I think those are the elements where it feels more, if we go from a comedic standpoint, it feels more like The Office than it feels like Family Guy or American Dad or something like that. But I think I wouldn't call it, I wouldn't call it Star Trek Next Generation Light. I would just call it another ship in the Star Trek universe. And I know it's its own universe, but to me it just feels like we could easily see the Enterprise ride by and have Picard go, hey, Captain. So I feel like when the show's at its best, it's not Star Trek Light, it's Star Trek. It feels like another show in that Deep Space Nine, Voyager Next Generation universe. Oh my god, I died and go to heaven. Phil, you're going to watch or review Mr. Robot? Eventually. I only watched season 1 of Mr. Robot, and I definitely really liked it. Show's a little above my head in the sense that I don't think I'm smart enough for it yet. But no, I need to rewatch it a couple of times. I watched season 1 when it was on, like live when it was on, and haven't rewatched it. But I think that's going to be one of those shows. Excuse me, I like to save some shows for this. And I'm going to wait until the entire series is done, and then do a full rewatch of it, and then do a podcast on it. There's some shows that are just like that I feel like I have to save some for binge watching. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life in a couple of years. If I watch everything new. And so, Will, definitely interesting perspective there. I like where your head was at. Yeah. I was going to say yo, but I thought it sounded stupid. I like where your head is at, yo. So I turned it into yeah. So, again, this is something that feels very Mel Brooksian to me, and I think works really well, how the beam is different for everything. How they have the cutting beam, the shoving beam, the tractor beam. They have all these different beams, like a Swiss Army knife of beams. As a Star Trek fan, I thought that was fucking hilarious. And Mr. Robot is a show I just watched, but I have no clue what the fuck is happening. I need a recap of a show to help me understand. Maybe it will help me too, Timo. Maybe if I can watch it with you guys and we talk about it live, it will help me understand it better. Anyone see the latest episode of Fear the Walking Dead titled Masturbating with Icy Hot? Is it really called that? Corey, you're one of the funniest bastards in the history of the live motherfucking chat, so I don't know if you're serious or not. So, Maudlin is what they're called, the alien Klingon race that they call Klingons. They're called Maudlins. So love the cutting beam, shoving beam, very funny, and the Data thing's voice is so close to Data's voice, it's uncanny, it's horrible. Not horrible in a bad way, but I keep turning and going, are we sure that's not Brent Spiner? Are we sure? What's Brent Spiner doing? Is this what he canceled the web series Fresh Hell to do? So he could be the voice of an android on Orville? Maudlin female is about to be taken. A very personal episode. I like some of the personal episodes moments. Love the conflict with the captain and the second officer of the Maudlin fleet. This shit is hitting the fan. I definitely like that. Love how it was all handled. And how she's offended by the whole situation as a female, and the Mocklins just kind of handle her with just disdain and not listening to it all. I like how all this was handled. I thought it was just so fucking Star Trek. And so Union, Federation, parallel. They could just call it the fucking Federation. Give me a break. Rudolph in this episode, the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the way that was used was very much, again, do a Deep Space Nine comparison, like when Quark and Bashir and Garak were talking about the boy that cried wolf. One of my favorite Garak moments ever on Star Trek Next Generation, where they're talking about someone's trying to give this character named Garak, advice about why not to cry wolf, why not to fake things, when people, trying to teach him the lesson of the boy that cried wolf. And he tells this alien species the story, this is the boy that cried wolf. He cried for the wolf, and then eventually the wolf came and ripped him to shreds. And the guy goes, well, that's a pretty hardcore story for kids. And he's like, yep. And he goes, but you get the point, Garak. You understand, and I'm paraphrasing, you get the point. You understand what this means. It means, if you keep lying and you keep lying, eventually when you tell the truth, no one will listen to you. And Garak turns to him and looks at him, and it's a scene topper. It ends the scene. He goes, Doctor, are you sure that's what the story is about? And he goes, what else would it be about? It's the lesson of that story is never tell the same lie twice. And it stops and you think about it, you're like, actually, that's true. The boy who cried wolf's biggest problem wasn't lying. It was that he told the same lie every single time. That's what fucked him over. It wasn't that he It wasn't that he fucking lied. It was that he lied twice. It was no creativity. And I love that. I love that moment. There's similar thing in How I Met Your Mother with the Karate Kid, where the character of Barney flips it around to show you how Daniel-san was the villain in the movie and Johnny was the good guy. I love that shit. I demand Mr. Robot Aftershoot podcast. You owe me for my conveniently absent Black Sails review, damn it. Hey, Jay, I wish I can contribute to Phil's conversation, but I'm Jon Snow with all this shit. As you were saying about the Prime Directive, it's clear that the Union does not have that, especially since the ship's crew had no compunction against imposing their beliefs on other aliens. I was asking myself the same question, Will, and thank you for letting me be Star Trek geeky with you here right now, Will. Because that's one of those questions I'm asking me through the whole episode last night. I'm fucking loving everything that's happening. But through it all, I'm wondering, does the Union have the Prime Directive? I want to know, and to me, that's the best thing this show is doing. Yes, it is funny, and I think, especially in episodes 2 and 3, for me anyways, the jokes fly. 90% of the jokes hit really well. My problem, or what I'm wondering about it, or isn't a problem, it's a good problem to have. The good problem to have is that I'm so fucking into it. And I'm so into the world building, like knowing Alara's speech, and I know I'm killing species, and I know I'm killing the names here, or the data robot species, wanting to know more about this alpha quadrant. What is going on here? What is the hierarchy in the Union? Are these really these creatures, the Mocklins? Are they the Klingons as it seems? Is there another Klingon-like race? I want to know all of that, and the show has done an excellent job, and I don't know, maybe that's the love of Trek that everyone that's making the show has, but it feels like it wants me, or it makes me ask those questions, and it makes me want to research that and look into it and know more about this world. And I think when you're making a universe like this, the reason why something like, I know a different genre, but the reason why something like The Bastard Executioner didn't work for me, because I feel like we're just seeing scene after scene after scene and not developing the world. And then the world was done with just quick asides and fast speech. In this, we're actually seeing these species. We're seeing the different ships. We're understanding it. We're seeing a situation arise that's Prime Directive specific right there, where it never should have refuted to bring that baby. If Picard would have been like, they got to take the baby. Sorry. That's what needs to happen. It's their race, their decision. Bashir was Duran, right? Yes, he was. Hey, Jay, great to see you, buddy. But Dr. Bashir was great. The sand slut stomped him in the dick. Probably the biggest waste of an actor on this side of Ian McShane. Was he in Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Trek. Yeah, fuck the Bastard Executioner. So let's continue. I just have a few more things to say about this episode. The Rudolph story really was well done. I want to make this decision because of the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It was so funny. It was ultimately, there were so many moments in this past episode, in episode 3, where they were almost quoting line for line moments in other Star Trek episodes, both Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, and Voyager, and they were doing it in a funny comedic tone, but still being so serious. That scene we got between the Mocklins, the two Mocklins on our show there, about the baby going back and forth, about wanting the baby to be a man, was just really good acting and really well done from a Star Trek perspective. And then the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer thing mixed in was like a real story someone would tell in a Star Trek episode, but instead of doing it, they were using Rudolph to make it funny, and it was funny because of that. See, that's what works about a spoof. That's what makes Mel Brooks hilarious. It's the Inquisition. Everything he says in the Inquisition song is true. And it's funny because it's true and it works. And I think in this episode with that Rudolph thing, it was a perfect capper and a perfect way of, what if our son needs to lead, what if our daughter needs to lead Santa Claus through on a dark winter's night one night? His parents would have killed Rudolph. They wanted to euthanasia Rudolph. We can't euthanasia our son. It was just really fucking funny, and I gotta say, 2 good episodes of Orville that have me excited for next Thursday. I did like episode 2 better than episode 3, but I do think we're getting into some good Star Trek territory for me. So episode 1, I would say, if I'm doing my side butthole rankings, I would say episode 1 for me now, looking back at the other 2, would say like a 5 or 6 side buttholes. I would say episode 2 for me would be, and remember, this isn't compared to other shows. This is within the universe of itself or my interest in it. I would say episode 2 gives me 8 side buttholes. And I would say episode 3 gives me 7 side buttholes out of 10. I think the series is potentially really good as a counterpoint to the seriousness that I think we're going to get with Discovery, of understanding early Trek and of doing some really good world building. I don't know if Discovery is going to do the same world building because the world's already built. So we just might be reintroduced to people from a story standpoint and kind of hit the ground running. Learning, getting to know a new world. Mass Effect got mentioned earlier. Similar to that, feeling and understanding and getting to know a new sci-fi universe is a lot of fun to me, whether it be like the Fifth Element universe, whether it be Battlestar, whatever. Different sci-fi universes are really well done when they're really fun when they're done well. And this series, I think, is taking so many great elements from Star Trek and doing them in a fun, new, interesting way. So if you like Star Trek The Next Generation or like that era of Star Trek and you've been holding off on watching Orville, I can now recommend the first 2 of the first 3 episodes. I legitimately did not, even going back now and rewatching it after watching the other 2, I legitimately didn't really like episode 1, but I think there's a lot of pressure behind that, and it was hard to tell a legitimate Star Trekian story, whereas I think we actually got into that in these next 2 episodes. So yeah, I recommend it. Watch it, motherfucker. Can you watch Orville if you don't know anything? Will says, I always seem to be on the outside when I see Rudolph. It's the message there that's pretty simple. It's okay to ridicule someone who does not fit in unless he becomes useful, ? How does that work? Sounds kinky, Timo, so much like the last episode, Fear the Walking Dead, titled Butt Sex with Winnie the Pooh. Can you watch the Orville without watching Star Trek? I don't think it would be as entertaining, but I do think it's funny enough at times that if you're not a big Star Trek fan, you can appreciate some of the jokes, and especially if you like Seth MacFarlane and you follow his stuff. It doesn't have that same, but don't expect the same kind of humor that you get out of Ted, the West movie, or any of his series. It has more of a, I keep saying Mel Brooks thing, but it has more of a general spoof sense to it than specifically Seth's comedy. There's a few jokes here and there, but I would say it's even more appealing to people that like Star Trek The Next Generation. It's hard for me to answer that question. I'll say that Stephanie doesn't love Star Trek as much as I do. In fact, she's not familiar with it at all, to a point of, she knows Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Data, Picard. Like, she knows more about Deep Space Nine than anything else because of me. But she likes the series, doesn't love it, and is like, yeah, this is okay. If I never watched this again, it wouldn't be any big whoop on me. And I was like, oh, did you get that? That was like that episode of Star Trek Next Generation. That was like that episode of Star Trek. Like, I'm watching it like that. Everyone's not going to be like that. Some people might be able to just watch it for fun. I think it's a well put together series. It's tight around the edges. You're not watching it and going, ugh, this is like cheapo. Aesthetically, it's filmed very well, and everything fits into it. If you're at least familiar with Next Generation, I'd watch an episode maybe, but I wouldn't recommend it to people that aren't Star Trek fans. I think it's more appealing to those who are a fan of, that can understand some of the references, because it adds a little bit more texture to it all, rather than just being, oh, hey, there's Seth in space. This is funny. Look at this. But it does have those moments. Like, everything I said about the storyline with the egg, sitting on the egg and all of that, like, it's all going to be fine for you if you've never seen Star Trek. I guess I just get a lot of little Easter eggs in there or something because of it. I would say you could watch it without knowing anything about Star Trek, but it kind of satire, but with more serious overtones. Corey just said better in a sentence what took me 20 minutes to say. Man, I don't like comedies. I need people to die horribly. Yeah, then you probably won't like it. Timo's like, yeah, I like comedies, but comedies are all well and good, but I get my comedy from listening to you try to fucking pronounce things, Phil. That's where I get my fucking comedy. You miss Gossip Girl? Have you watched Riverdale yet? I won't say it's quite Gossip Girl, but it definitely has some similarity feel to it. And there's another series coming out. Stephanie and I saw a preview for it that looks very Gossip Girl-like. I forget what it's called, but it's something like that. It might even be probably a CW kind of show. I feel like there's a lower, because of the CW trying to do the superhero thing and then having way too much teen drama pop up in superhero shows. Someone's saying to them, guys, your CW-ness is starting to seep through too much of your superhero shows. You guys need to make some teen dramas. So they went and made Riverdale, and now they're making another one too. So, because there was a point in time where you had the Gossip Girl, new 90210, and like Pretty Little Liars, whatever that other show was on there. Like 10 friggin' teen dramas on the CW at the same time. Now it's all superhero shows. Some of the CW writers that are in there that are like hardcore teen drama writers, like shit, we need to go where everybody knows our name. It's more like there are some situations now, let's just insert with a sense of humor in them, kind of like someone in Game of Thrones broke the fourth wall and Jon Snow started scratching his balls. See, Corey Mitchell, one of the most succinct and funny motherfucking chatters of all fucking time. Right now I'm lucky. It's a smaller crew, but I have like I right now have like 3 of the best motherfucking chatters and an awesome Star Trek fan watching me right now. We got, is this show a parody of Star Trek? If so, is it as good as Spaceballs? Good question, SM. It's a parody more specifically of Star Trek The Next Generation, not Star Trek as a whole. It's different than Spaceballs. I don't think it's as funny as Spaceballs or Galaxy Quest for that purpose. I'd say it takes itself, and I wonder if Corey agrees with this or Will agrees with this. I say Orville, the difference between Orville and Galaxy Quest and Spaceballs, I would say it takes itself more serious than both shows, both properties. I would say Spaceballs takes itself the least serious. Then Galaxy Quest has a couple of like taking itself serious moments, similar to Three Amigos. Like Galaxy Quest is almost Three Amigos like in that sense. Almost in every beat for beat, it has a lot of Three Amigo-ness. Orville is taking itself seriously as a sci-fi oriented show in the Star Trek universe. Like literally, it feels like you're watching a ship in the Star Trek universe that just, Corey said it perfectly, that occasionally will have a wink to the audience, or a funny form of dialogue that is off from the normal medium. Similar to, and now I'm doing my show where I'll totally put my hand on my bumhole and slap it across my face because that's what I do in the show. Now that's a horrible example. I say that stuff anyway. I guess I just mean, and it's true. It's true. I miss him. I miss him so much. I lost him 2 years ago and it's horrible. I lost my G.I. Joe action figure, and it means so much to me. Like it will build up these things, and then the punchline will be delivered just as earnestly as the real line. So it doesn't stop and say, hey, this is the jokes. This is the jokes. There's a couple of moments like that, but I think those are more occasional, not the rule of it. Occasionally, Seth MacFarlane will do a Seth MacFarlane-like joke, or we'll see a moment where you're like, okay, one of the Family Guy writers wrote that. But I think for the most part, the spoofness is more interwoven into the narrative, and the show takes itself seriously. So if you're watching it or hoping it's going to be Spaceballs-like or Galaxy Quest-like, it's not. It's more like watching Next Generation, where everyone on the ship is, or with a little sense of comedy, like that got hit by the comedy stick a little bit. Like I think this show could have completely take itself seriously, and I would still watch it and love it. I don't know if everyone would, but if they even cut the jokes in half even a little bit, and the jokes were even a little bit more subtle, I think it would still work, and I think it might even work better for me as a sci-fi show. And see, that's what I thought I got in episode 2. I think the jokes were more rage-filled jokes because of Seth and the first officer being in the situation that they were. And I think in some of the stuff with Ilaria dealing with running the ship and dealing with all that stuff, I think I think this show works at its best when it's not too funny. I think the funny doesn't seem as natural to the show as the seriousness does, if that makes any sense. So to answer your question, Jay, if you're watching it expecting it to be like Spaceballs level funny, I don't think so. You may find it that level funny because everyone's different and funny is whatever, but I'd say it's less Spaceballs and more. I'm trying to think of something else that's done something like this in that sense, like a comedy show that wants to take itself more serious or something. I agree, Phil. Orville does take itself seriously, but not as serious as like the Handmaid's Tale does. Or you, a Walking Dead video will be like, Rick met someone who knew they were. Are you saying Carl or Curl? Curl or Curl? Curl or Curl? Curl. Aren't you guys so excited for The Walking Dead? Oh, we got Johnny Giant Spade in the live chat. Hungover as fuck, but had to stop and give a thumbs up to the House of Phils, Breaker of Chains, Remover of Beards. I'll get excited for The Walking Dead if they tell Glenn was dying was just some dream and he's still alive. Timo, I'm excited in the way that this show has become so bad at its comedy goal. Rick Grimes has become the new Captain Kirk of bad acting, so it's so bad. Timo says, oh my god, I would die laughing, Jay. We got, seriously, some of the best motherfucking chatters of all time in the live chat right now with Jay, Johnny, Timo, Corey Mitchell, and fucking Will right now. It's like, I'm so excited to have you guys joining me this afternoon. I know I'm streaming even a lot more, so it's less bang for my buck when I go live sometimes, but I don't care. I'm going to start streaming every day, or pretty much 3-4 times a week, every week as possible, at least until I start working again a little bit more often. Which should be happening. Well, that's a different story altogether. I've had another interview with one of my old jobs of maybe returning to my old job next Thursday, which should be interesting. So more words on that, and I'll tell you guys if that affects the show or not as time goes on. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. Orville is the office set in the Star Trek universe. James, it's funny you say that, James, because Will literally was saying almost the same thing earlier in the live chat. He was saying that it isn't so much Next Generation light, it's like the Office in space. And I guess I can see that. I definitely can see that. That didn't necessarily occur to me, but the way the humor works is very much more something like The Office than Family Guy, American Dad, etc. It's the way the humor works is more of a satirical look at a workspace comedy, and that workspace just happens to be on the ship on the Star Trek Enterprise, or excuse me, the Star Trek Orville. What? What, Johnny? Johnny, you can't delete messages. I can read them. Timo's gonna hunt you down and kill you in the middle of the night for saying things like that, Johnny. Johnny, it says, should I even read that, Johnny, out loud? Will Timo destroy you? And Johnny, to answer your question, not this coming Thursday, but maybe the following Thursday, the 5th in the evening, if maybe like 7 o'clock my time, if that's not too late your time. Myself, Johnny, and Broke will be hopefully going live that day to do some random Game of Thrones and just random discussions. We'll be taking questions from the audience. And Timo, if you can hear this as well, going to be sharing the link to the event in the Discord group, or I'll send you a private message of it as well if I can't figure out a way to send you a private message on Discord. So if you can join us in a couple Thursdays, it won't be this coming Thursday, it'll be a week from Thursday, and for a kind of friend stream, and for the second hour I want to bring in as many FOPs as you can. Jay, you're welcome to pop on in too, and anybody else that wants to pop on in, please join the Discord so you can find the link to get into those hangouts, get into that hangout in a couple weeks. I'll talk more to Johnny about that in private, and maybe next Thursday might not be the best day, but we'll figure it out. It's sometime in the next 2 weeks that will be happening, so hopefully you guys will be looking forward to that, and that should be a lot of fun to get as many of the FOPs on as possible. As I've been mentioning, if you want to join us on that live stream, anyone's welcome to pop on in here. We can get up to 10 people at once, and then we can start cycling people. If we get 10, if we just get 3 people, that's fine too. Only rule is please wear your headphones. Okay. Johnny got timed out. Corey says, Orville did it correctly with the administration peeps at Starfleet still being incompetent jackasses. I love all of that too, and I love the interactions between Alara, whatever her name is, and the Federation of the Union, and having the whole thing with the ship being angry at her unless she does a Kirk thing, because ultimately on Star Trek it's always WWKD. What would Kirk do? Possibly. I think it's Thursday, October 5th. On that Thursday evening, probably sometime, so it doesn't get too late for Johnny, maybe sometime around 6 or 7 p.m. I don't know if, Timo, you're around. I got to check with Broke to make sure he's around for that too. But if you are, I'd love to have you join us. It's just going to be kind of a bullshit stream for a couple of hours. An hour of Johnny, Broke, and I, and then an hour on Timo, you're welcome to join us for that too. And then an hour at the end to bring the whole, as many people that want to come in as possible in that second hour, and just have kind of like a the inmates run the asylum sort of stream of sorts, to thank you guys for all the support that you guys give the channel. I hope that Yasid has a bigger role in the future of Orville. Both the episodes he had him in, he was an asset. I agree with that 100%. I think that's the thing this show has in abundance, that they have so many different elements that they can go in different directions, so many interesting, subtle characters that they can take. Like, I can't wait till they get into the exploration of I'm sorry. Like, there's just so many fucking great, like, moments. Like I said, the only two characters on it that I'm not a fan of are the two pilots. And I think it's just because they've basically been used at this point. It's basically they've only been used for, at this point. Sorry, I'm trying to like type and talk at the same time, and I can never do that. I can never do that. They've been used as like comic relief or something like that. But I definitely like all the. I want to go down the characters list here. Seth MacFarlane as Kelly Grayson was really good. Claire Finn. Scott and Bortus. I'm not. Oh no, I like Bortus. Bortus is the one I like. Malloy, Scott Grimes as Malloy is not the biggest fan of it. And I love Alara. Alara is one of my favorite characters on the show, if not my favorite. I think she is amazing. And Lamar, I haven't warmed up to yet. I feel like maybe he could have a good episode coming in the future, but I'm not really a big fan of what he's been doing. And Isaac is the character I've been trying to think of his name. I keep calling him Data, but I do hope that I hope that they explore Data's character a little bit more, and we see a little bit more of his race. But yeah, what you were saying about the Norm Macdonald character, I was saying that at the beginning of the series. I think Norm could add a lot of very unique kind of humor to this show. And I love Norm Macdonald. I love his podcast. I love him as Pigeon on the Mike Tyson's Mystery Show. And him, and even his bit appearance in the first episode, or his appearance trying to pick up Cassidy Yates in the last episode, was fucking hilarious, and how he turns this thing into like a firm cock and shit. No one is Norm Macdonald, and when you have him in something, he adds such an interesting dynamic, so I could see them going really deep with his character at some point in time. They're not introducing him, and this seems like the type of show, that's what I was trying to get to, because I was looking for character names. I wanted to make sure I wasn't talking out of my ass, so that was my stall, yeah, and stuff. I'm totally not looking at stuff. But I do think he's a possible interesting character that they could explore. In the first episode with the two pilots, he was like, hey, I'm a jerk, you're a jerk, we're both buddy cop jerks, best friends forever. Yeah, it was just a little bit easy. Oh, Fox has done some weird satires. Any remember Son of He-Man or whatever that show was? Oh, was that the one with Cheryl Hines where it was the half cartoon, half human, where it was, where the dude's living in the garage or some shit? Yeah, Johnny cussing me out. Johnny. I can't wait for the Explorer ship that they're on, starts to... I can't wait for the for them to start exploring. Absolutely will. Sorry, Phil. I think my net glitched out. I'm definitely down. Oh, definitely down. Awesome. Awesome, Johnny. I'll private message you sometime next week. So not next week, probably October 5th on Thursday. Let's check with Broke to see what time is good for him. And I know I wrote on my little phone. This is just for you, Johnny. I have on my phone that my two different times, my time in Dublin So I know time zones, so I can think about it. So you're 5 hours ahead. So we'll figure it out. We'll probably do it at like 5 or 6 or 7. I know you're a night owl, and the next day you said you have off. So we'll do it on either like 6 or 7 o'clock on a Thursday for you. So can't wait for that. Can't wait to get Johnny on the live motherfucking stream. Hey, Walking David, great to see you, buddy. So on that note, and I think The Walking David, not next Sunday, or this coming Sunday, I'll have Joe Dirty Locks on the live stream. And a week from that, I believe David and I have to talk about that if we're going to be doing opening night. But I think a week from that, on October 1st, The Walking David and I will be on Sunday night Eastern Standard Time at about 10 o'clock p.m., 10:30 p.m. to talk about the series or the series finale, or what is it, season 8, is it? Or I was going to say the final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, the first episode, as I tried to say. But great to see you. Oh, you gangster Phil, Doctor Who ain't got shit on you as a Time Lord. I'm a Time Lord. I specifically put your time zone on there so I could easily look at that. I can't lie, I was also using it for other purposes too, but Phil's trying to win me over after he invited me on the worst Walking Dead episode recap ever. So, last words on Orville, just so I can kind of move on to the next subject here, as I know I tend to go off on rants. If you're hoping for like straight up spoof ridiculosity, maybe it's not the show for you. I think a couple people in the live chat have said this, and I agree with them. Almost like The Office, kind of a sense of humor to it all, in space, on the Star Trek Enterprise. Excuse me. I think Seth MacFarlane has gotten better in both episodes, in every episode, or maybe I'm getting... Excuse me, damn. Or maybe I'm getting a little bit too used to him, or a little used to him in the part. But I feel like he's a lot more relaxed in episode 2 and 3 than he is in episode 1. And I think I can see where he can be good in this part, and not kind of separate me where I'm like, oh, I wish this was, I don't know, Trey Parker, or I wish this was Gary Sinise, or I wish this was Jason Bateman or something. That I don't know. I'm hopeful for the rest of the season of Orville. And I think we can all be safe to assume that the better this series goes, the more chance it has for Fox to cancel it. So maybe I want it to be shitty, or say it's shitty so Fox doesn't cancel it. But I think it's getting at least a good amount of fanfare that I'm hoping that we're going to get at least a season 2 of it. I think the real challenge begins on Sunday when Star Trek Discovery comes out. And because I think a lot of the Star Trek fans, like Star Trek fans, are supporting this show. I think a lot of them were surprised by being more interested than not. I got a couple messages from people. I'm a Star Trek fan. I like that. I'm not saying every Star Trek fan likes it, but I think it's getting a lot of positive fanfare, and it's going to set up this balance between Discovery and Orville. And I personally, it's like, I want to own a Genesis and a Nintendo, Super Nintendo. Why do I have to pick? But I think it's potentially from going from, I would say, the dead time of being a Star Trek fan for so many years before the JJ movies came out, and then even through the JJ movies, depending on what you're a fan of. Sorry, Jay, not trying to trigger you. But even within that, of being a Star Trek on the television fan standpoint, we're entering, I think, into a possible renaissance for Star Trek. If Discovery is great and Orville keeps getting better and better, which I think it has the potential to get better and better. So I'm crossing my fingers, crossing my dick, closing my side butthole in hopes that Star Trek really is coming back in the way that I think it is. And that finally we're going to get a good legitimate TV series, two legitimate good TV series here after so long of a break. So that's my hopes as of right now. You guys are fucking amazing. I love that. Oh, cool, David. Yeah, October 1st, we'll do it at like 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. And then I need to talk to you about afterwards, because somebody accidentally, not me, may have episodes 2, 3, and 4 downloaded on a flash drive. Not me. So we may want to do something with those episodes after the premiere. But we'll talk more about that on premiere night for Curb Your Enthusiasm, David. I can't wait to get to talking to you more and get David more on the podcast starting in October with Curb and Walking Dead stuff. So definitely look forward to that. And also, as I mentioned, look forward to Johnny and Broke coming on in a couple of weeks as well. So here we go. Let's change subjects here into a different show. So anyone that's here just to listen to kind of like Trekkie talk, it's time to change things, and let's get to a different show. And but all of you guys are constantly and always my shit buddies.
Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy. Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy. Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy. Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy tonight.
Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Oh, Picard, you wacky bastard. So the next show I want to talk about is... Okay, we have two other shows to talk about. One is I have a little less to say about it because I didn't watch the entire series. So let me get that one out of the way first. Now, I'm a big fan of comedies, as people know it. Certain things kind of surprise me in a situation when I get into them, because comedy is very subjective in the sense of what do you find funny? Do you find silly funny? Do you find goofy funny? Someone I never really found funny, I just never did, was Danny McBride. I can't help it. Like, I think I understand what people find funny about him, but the first time I think I saw him was in Tropic Thunder, and he just was one of my least favorite parts of that movie. And the Danny McBride character, the over-the-topness or whatever, I just didn't click with. And Phil, it doesn't look good for getting a season. I just checked the ratings every week. It's gone down. First week was over 8 million. Second week was 6 million. Last week was 4 million. I don't see a season 2 if it keeps this trend, especially from Fox. Thank you for that. Thank you for the research, Jay. Fucking Jay. Jay again wins an award for one of the fucking... You get a star, Jay. Thank you for your research. I fucking love you, buddy. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for anyone that tunes into these live streams. So... I've never been a huge Danny McBride fan. Walter Goggins or something, coming from, I think the first show that he was on that I saw him on was The Shield. Something I've never talked about on this channel, but it's something I definitely probably should talk about at some point in time. Popped up in Sons of Anarchy, playing a very funny character. But this guy is one of, to me, the more underrated character actors working in the business. For my interest. Walter Goggins is talented as fuck, okay? Like, really plays believable characters when he gets into it. And I did not think I was going to like this show. And I'm of course talking about Vice Principals. I did not think I was going to like the show Vice Principals. I wasn't the biggest fan of, like, a lot of shows that probably had a similar sense of humor to it. But I watched the first episode of last season, of season 1. And then somehow I was compelled to watch the second episode. Before I knew it, I binge-watched the entire series. And at the time I was watching it, didn't think it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, but was amazingly entertained by it. It ended on a very serious, like, emotional kind of cliffhanger, too. And I would say what makes the series so good is Danny McBride and Walter Goggins together. The way they interact together is almost like a sense of an odd couple of sorts. And their chemistry back and forth is something special. And the series itself is all right, but the two of them, when they argue, when they go at each other, it makes me laugh like nothing I've seen in a long time, except for maybe something I'm going to talk about next. So I've been more excited than some, I think, for the premiere of season 2 of Vice Principals, which came out this week. I believe it came out on, I don't know, when Sunday or something like that. I don't know what day of the week it airs. So I went to go watch it and wasn't sure what to expect. Wasn't sure. I know that they only wanted to do 2 seasons. It's one of those shows that the creators have a very specific amount of time of episodes that they want to do. They want to do 2 seasons, and this is starting the second and final season. I don't want to talk too much about what happens on Vice Principals in season 1, or specifically what happens in this episode, because this is one of those comedy series that is, I don't want to spoil it for you, because there's enough twists and turns along the way that the show keeps you guessing and keeps you laughing. But this show is fucking hilarious. It's one of the funniest shows I think ever on television for me. When those two go at it and the fucking hijinks that they pull, it's just so exceptional. Some of the episodes in season 1 drag a little bit, and I'm sure some in season 2 will drag too, but whatever. Like, the highlight moments are just really good. Season 2 starts out with a really kind of well-acted emotional scene by Danny McBride that surprised me. Maybe because he didn't talk in it, and the cap of it is very funny, but I think he has another gear. And I think he has an acting gear that he hasn't quite explored yet, because in this moment, just some of the stuff he plays in a nightmare, and it's hard to explain without seeing it, but it's really well done by Danny McBride. I don't know if he just got a good take or something like that, but I was surprised. I was like, holy shit. And then this episode, Vice Principals just goes there. Again, I don't want to spoil it to you because some of the value of watching this show is how it's all presented to you. So by me telling you what's going to happen takes away some of the punch. Timo, not to get into it, but you were saying some of the things you like and you need in a show. Excuse me. I would recommend this show to you. There's a lot of real violent moments in this show. These violent delights have violent ends. And there's a lot of crazy moments of like, what the fuck am I watching on television times in this? And then it corrects you to the, what the fuck am I fuck kind of moments in this series. And I think season 2, episode 1 may have been the best episode of the entire series. And that's saying a lot because I really did like season 1. So I don't have much to say about this because I only watched episode 1 of the series, and I don't want to recap this because I don't want to spoil it. But ultimately, we get back into business of what's going on. Anytime Walter Goggins is on screen, he steals a scene. As much as, Danny McBride's almost who I put up with in this show. Walter Goggins' character, fuck man, is like one of the funniest guys ever on television. He is so good. I loved him so much on Sons of Anarchy, and I think this is the pinnacle peak role for him. And he's so good on the Shield too. And this guy's one of the best character actors working, and he's so funny on this fucking series. It's on HBO. Phil is what sandwiches is slang for. Vice Principal is hilarious. Timo, you are awesome. I'm having a shocker. No, you're awesome. We're getting some kneecap licking going on in the live chat. I love it. I love the ball washing and the kneecap licking. We all deserve it. We all get shit on in everyday life shits on you. So when we're here in this fucking clubhouse, let's shit on each other with all vigor, and then let's lick each other's kneecaps off too. Let's say, Timo, you're fucking full of shit on this one, but I love you and I want to give you a ball wash or something. Jay, fuck you, man. Fucking Star Trek Cumber Cunt sucks his con. But Jay, you're the best, man. I love you. See? Phil, what is sandwiches for slang for? I think I've been misled here. Phil, that's what you're going to give a free copy, you're going to give Corey a free spin of the wheel for his birthday. Oh, it's Corey's birthday? The tattoo she had was fucking awesome, Phil. Phil, that is what's... Yes, I need violences. Westworld quote. At least I got something. Okay, Corey. Happy motherfucking birthday, buddy. I'm giving you a spin of the wheel. I don't care if you're lying to me. It can be your birth. If not, it's your unbirthday. By the way, Phil, I got a crazy amount of laughs on the Go Hug Yourself shirt the other day. Oh, you did? I was wearing the Go Hug. I gotta make some new ones on those. I gotta do another print of the Go Hug Yourself shirts. The whole t-shirt thing got a little screwed up. I think, but I'm so glad some of you guys got them and got them out. My aunt still wears her Go Hug Yourself shirt out too. And people are like, what's that mean? Some people take it as a compliment, some people don't. But yes, please, if anyone's watching this later, and remind me later to do another run on Go Hug Yourself t-shirts. Oh, fuck. Oh, you got everyone drink, Corey. Everyone drink. So yeah, Vice Principals is a funny show. It's not going to be for everybody, as comedies aren't for everybody, but it's one of my favorite comedies on television right now, and I'm very excited for this last season. And on these Friday roundabout issues program kind of streams that I'm going to be doing. I'll probably make a lot of references and a lot of mentions and have a lot of sections talking about vice principals. And this episode was fucking great. Okay, I'll bite. Have a merry unbirthday to you, Corey. Timo with the spin of the wheel. Timo, thank you so much. And thank you for the super chat donations. You guys are incredible. Incredible, Timo. The amount of support you give the channel. I cannot say enough love. And Timo got bite of a sandwich. You didn't get drink, Timo, but you're getting the mojo a little bit back. It's coming back. It's coming back. Gonna send that pic of the FOP shirt to. Please do. And for whatever it's worth, the house FOP shirt that you got, Timo, you were the only person to get that shirt. For some reason, and I don't know what analysis stole to make that shirt, but when I tried to keep that design up on the website, that I forget which shirt website it was, the one I have, the one that you bought that from, I think it's Teespring or Slip Shirt or my ass cock or something. It said that the House Phil the Issues side was copyright material. It's probably the clip art of the conga or something. So Timo, you were legitimately the only person. It slipped through the cracks. You were the only person to get that t-shirt. So excuse me. I gotta take a hit of a sandwich for Timo. Oh my goodness. So that was a hardcore bite of that sandwich. Shit, it went down the wrong pipe. So Timo, thank you so much. I want to buy something from Asscock. Hey, Asscock is the best. Thank you so much, Johnny, and thank you to everyone that has hit that like button. And thank you to our friends that popped on in here to hear the Orville discussion as I proceed into the next show. So, I don't have much else to say about Vice Principals right now. If you haven't watched it and you've been thinking about giving it a shot, and you would all have any like for Danny McBride or anything, I would say watch the first episode and see if you click with the sense of humor of the show. The show, more than anything I've seen in a while, and I think all shows are like this, but I think Vice Principals has a humor onto itself that you're either going to like or you're not. I'm not going to say you're either going to get it or you're not. The humor is pretty obvious. But you're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. So please, please, please let me know. YouTube has been broken with the updates. Less and less people are being alerted when I go live. Seriously, 10,000 people should be alerted when I go live. Of every single subscriber should be fucking alerted. They should send an email or a fucking notification to their YouTube page at least to let them know that the channel that they subscribe to are going live. Or even the people that have clicked on our little bell don't always notice. Sometimes I think it's my fault because I create the event and make it private first and then turn it public when I'm ready to do it. But I didn't do that with this event. This event, I legitimately made this, had it go public, and I don't think anyone was alerted. I don't know if it's because I'm streaming more, so it's alerting people less. So make sure if you're, for whatever reason it's alerting people less, if you haven't already, make sure you click on that notification button. And if you've done it already, unclick the notification button and click it again. Because sometimes you might need to shock the system, so to speak. So if you're watching this stream later and going, fuck, I wanted to watch this and I wasn't noticed, please do that. Either unsubscribe and subscribe again, or unnotify yourself and notify yourself again. Sometimes that will be a good little trick to get the notifications again. So I think it's happening to a lot more people, and I think it sucks. Because there's people, not just me, people even bigger than me or whatever, or smaller than me or whatever, that have done a good job building audiences, big and small and in different audiences. So it's shitty when they alert people more of new channels that just got made and shit rather than they go live. Like I get notifications for channels I'm not even subscribed to, new channels going live or some shit like that, or check out these channels, or on my YouTube thing with like, here's all these channels you should check out that are new in the genre in which I check out. But Johnny's going live right now and I'm subscribed and have my notifications set, but I don't know Johnny's going live unless I go to his page. So you know, that system needs to be improved. There's a lot of things on YouTube that need to be improved, but I think that's one of the things with the live streaming and with uploading videos too. It's not just with live streaming, for uploading videos too. They need to do a better job of alerting the people that are actually subscribed or notified on those channels, because a lot of people aren't getting shit. Send your hateful letters to YouTube. It's so badly broken. It's super broken. So that's just on that note, Vice Principals, I would definitely say to watch it if you can. Oh yeah, Johnny. Fuck, dude. I was just using that as an example. Fucking bullshit, Johnny. Fucking bullshit. But let's okay, so Vice Principals, watch it. It's good. Touch it inappropriately. It will touch you inappropriately. I definitely recommend that show too. If you like funny, I recommend that show. So, my sub list is stuck on last week's videos. Oh, dude, that fucking sucks. Yeah, the whole system's broken. The whole Orville, I don't know, Johnny, I would say give the Orville a go. Vice Principals, if I think you would definitely like Vice Principals. I would say Vice Principals first for you, Johnny, if you to check that one out. Orville maybe. So, it's gonna catch up. So on our last show, so I'm just finishing my sandwich. Timo did a super chat donation and had me buy the sandwich, and now I'm like, I need to finish my sandwich before I am done. Let's see what's going on. What are you up to? You have your Friday? Yes, I am on right now, almost over-ish. Why? Okay, sorry. Does Phil have a beard on your thumbnails now, dude? Have you ever watched The Good Place? It's only 13 episodes. You can binge it. It's funny. On Netflix, you found it. I will definitely watch that. I'm looking for a new Netflix series to binge at the moment. So thank you, Jay, for that message. Private message me that if you can, or DM me on Twitter or something like that series, so I'll remember. Because I'm an idiot and I won't remember that tomorrow. Kay finally sent the pic on Discord. Only took you almost fresh sandwiches. Hey, Phil. Phil has to talk while typing. I do the same. I do. I can't do it. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. It's impossible. So the last show I'm going to be talking about here on today's live stream is another Netflix series that just came out. And it's maybe... Excuse me for 1 second. Should I show the trailer for it, maybe? Can I do that? Do I have the technology? Do I have the technology for that shit? Let's see. Let's see if I have the American Vandal. Let's see if I have the trailer for this one. So give me 1 second while I bring up the trailer for this new series on Netflix. Now, this is a documentary series. It's very serious, a very serious documentary series that you all should take very seriously because it is important. It's an important series to watch as I'm distracting time. Okay, here we go.
It's just not the way I thought things were gonna go. I was gonna graduate high school, get my degree in like engineering. I know I didn't do it.
It is a shocking scene for Hanover High teachers today.
The Vandal spray painted obscene images on 27 cars.
Oh my God.
I'll never understand what's so amusing about penises.
Everyone thinks I did it. Everyone.
Dylan definitely did it.
Of course he did it.
He's like a known dick drawer.
Another day, another dick.
The evidence, it's overwhelming. I spoke to expel Dylan Maxwell for vandalizing the vehicles.
My name is Peter Maldonado, and I believe there are legitimate arguments for Dylan's innocence.
Ball hairs.
The ball hairs.
They're different. It's just one piece to the puzzle. This is gonna take way more than just ball hairs.
They say he deleted the security footage. There's no way.
He is the stupidest kid I've ever met.
He's trying to convince you some sort of conspiracy. There just isn't one.
Oh my God.
Everyone got secrets.
The administration has something to hide.
This isn't about dicks. This is about the justice system.
He didn't stand a chance.
All of you, stop filming right now!
They got the wrong guy. I mean, there's still someone out there.
Oh my fucking God. Okay. So everybody, what I want you all to do right now is I want you to shut this shit off. And by the shut this shit off, I mean me. And I don't even want to talk. I don't even know what I can say about this series. I don't even have anything written down. Stephanie and I were looking for a Netflix series to watch the other evening. We had just oh, sorry, I just spit all over my microphone. I came out of my mouth. I came out of the penis of head of my mouth. Another day, another dick. I hate true crime documentary series, but this one looks like must-see TV. I saw the fact that it wasn't true, made me not want to watch it. I would rather watch documentaries rather than mockumentaries. You're lost, Jay. I highly recommend every single person watching this. This is the greatest mockumentary ever made because it feels like a documentary. Sorry to break it down. A lot of people do know this. It's not real. It's not real. But it takes itself so serious. It is, if anyone's ever been into Serial or Making a Murderer or something like that, this literally is a must watch. Don't not watch this because this is a mockumentary and you're like, I don't want to see something that doesn't take itself serious. If you like documentaries and you like the medium of documentaries, I'm sorry, you owe it to yourself to watch this because this is fucking hilarious and it's also extremely well made. Like, they didn't pull any punches, any dicks in this series. This series is everything you could possibly imagine and more for a mockumentary series mocking the Serial thing. But it doesn't make fun of it even. It just does it. Again, I don't want to talk too much about this because I'm building it up and people are going to watch and go, this fucking sucks. Fuck you, Phil, for even recommending this. I am recommending this above anything else right now. I want all of you this weekend to binge watch this and have fun with it, especially if you had all found that trailer funny because that's a good tone to the whole thing. Stephanie and I were, like, we were going to only watch one episode and we were like, we don't want to watch a mockumentary about this stuff. Because Jay, ultimately, we both feel similar. We watch, like, all those prison documentary series on Netflix, every single possible fucking thing. We just watched another one the other day, like, and binge watched another one. We, like, eat that shit up. I can't watch enough of these. And we watched it, we're like, are we gonna watch this? And then we watched it, we could not turn it off. We binge watched the whole thing in one night. We could not, and they're half-an-hour episodes, so it's an easy binge. Do yourself a favor, shut my ass off and go watch this. Spinal Tap's Spinal Tap's one of my favorite mockumentaries. A show about dicks. Now that's the kind of comedy I'm watching this shit tonight. Perfect show for sandwiches and snacks. Legit sandwiches. That sounded so wrong, Phil. Oh god. Oh my god, it's a show about fucking dicks. Spit came out of my mouth. Mockumentaries equals Spinal Tap. I love documentaries, so this shit is for me. Had me at another day, another dick. Motto of my college years. Black Sails, Phil. Now, while I'm crying, balls deep. It may be like Orville. It makes fun of it, but it doesn't. But does it at the same time. Phil, the issues. Apologize to Spinal Tap right now. I'm not apologizing to Spinal. I love Spinal Tap. It's my favorite movie. If I was ranking my favorite movie list, Spinal Tap would be 2 or 3 on that list. I fucking cannot watch enough Spinal Tap. I love it. Oh, you mean by calling this the best mockumentary series of all time? Well, that's tough. That's tough. If I was ranking this versus, Spinal Tap's better. Spinal Tap is better. Because Spinal Tap truly captures what it's like to be in a rock band and all of that stuff. But I mean, comparatively to like the modern day documentaries of Serial or Making a Murder, this is set up in almost an exact same way, but it's all for cocks. But no, Spinal Tap. I've seen Spinal Tap live 3 times. Like, I love Spinal Tap. They play their instruments live. They jam those songs. I have those songs downloaded. I listen to those shits all the time. Trust me, I have nothing. Could never say anything bad about Spinal Tap. This podcast goes to 11. To trigger, Star Trek Nemesis has a brilliant script and is well acted. I agree. I think Star Trek Nemesis is an awesome movie, Johnny. I think especially the cutting room stuff that gets better into making Shinzon a great character. You can't go wrong when you have Tom Hardy and Patrick Stewart having scenes together. If you said Insurrection, we may have had an issue. But no, I think Nemesis is an underrated Star Trek movie. I don't think it's as bad as people say. Fuck you, bastard. I haven't watched it yet, and I haven't been able to check out those videos quite yet, but it is on Stephanie and I's list, but I will check that out. Hey, wait, that sounds like a documentary. Get it? Good one, Angelo. And I'm going to rewatch Black Sails when Walking Dead comes back to help my anger get out. Damn, this new Star Trek series looks like shit, meaning the Orville. Mike, I'm talking more about a series right now I think you would love. Called American Vandal. So American Vandal follows a character named Dylan and also follows two characters. It's basically based around these people that do a morning news show. And there is an event that happens on campus where someone draws dicks on cars in the parking lot and causes like $10,000 worth of damage. And the whole thing is an examination on whether or not this guy Dylan really did the dicks. In fact, the expression "did the dicks" gets used 10,000 times throughout the series. Did Dylan do the dicks? Did he do the dicks? Do you think he did the dicks? If he did the dicks, how did he do the dicks? And it gets overly analyzed in that documentary sense and gets treated really, I'm not going to say like deadpan, but the whole thing's dealt with very seriously and very deadpan maybe is a good way of saying it. Like the guy who does the main kid who does the voiceovers, and it's him and this other dude that are like the main two stars of it. They're exceptionally awesome. There's this part in there, and this is the one spoiler I'll give. There's this part in there where they're talking about, it gets to the episode of, well, if Dylan didn't do it, who are the possible suspects for doing this situation? And ultimately, someone raises the point, well, you two assholes doing the documentary, it could be you two. You two both had the same access everyone that's a potential suspect had. So there's this part where they go, okay, so if we're going to do this, we need to use the same lens on ourselves. And the best friend in it does a take on the main character, like oh, this is the only way you would have done the crime. And the way it's done is, I have not laughed that hard in years. I just was on my ass laughing at just how serious it takes it and how crazy. One of the funniest things for me is really funny things said in a very serious way. That's always just been something that makes me laugh. And part of that is Spinal Tap, I guess, is a great, I believe virtually everything I read. Oh, this is my new song. It's beautiful and it's wonderful, and this is my beautiful song I'm going to play for you. I can't play the piano, so imagine that's a really heartfelt song. That's my song called "Lick My Love Pump." Sorry to destroy accents, but I love that kind of thing. And if you are a huge fan of documentaries, like you can't get enough, I honestly can't recommend this series enough for you. It's going to break it down for you. It's going to dissect what you like about these documentaries and give it to you in a fucking hilarious way. So American Vandal, 10 out of 10 side buttholes. I fucking love this series. Will be on my list of favorite series of the year. That's how much I liked it. So watch that. Watch them shits. So let's scroll up into the live motherfucking chat. Orville, another day, another dick. Fuck Phil, I meant insurrection. Fail. Oops, wrong movie to fucking trigger Phil. And I had like a super response to it. My favorite wrestler, Dirty Dick Slater, Big Dick Tully, Dick the Bruiser, the tag team, the Dicks. Yeah, Mike, this is gonna be your series. Seriously, Mike, shut my fucking bullshit podcast off now and go find a way to watch American Vandal and let me know what you thought of it. I'm curious. You might hate it. I mean, again, humor's everything. I know Jay's probably watching it right now just to tell me next week how much he hates it. But no, not everyone's gonna like it. Joe might be on the next podcast and go, Phil, how could you like that fucking series? Heard you talking about that. It's fucking stupid. But for me, and I would say for Stephanie too, it's probably one of our favorite things we've watched on television in a long time. We watch a lot of fucking television. It just broke me out of, I needed that. At my interest level of documentaries, where I've watched pretty much almost every documentary on Netflix, HBO Go, and Amazon, and listened to so many podcasts, stuff like that too. It's what I needed to watch. It's the Deadpool of superhero movies and the second time in 2 days I've referenced Deadpool, but it is to superhero movies what Deadpool is to what documentaries. If this was an SAT exam, it would be, Deadpool to superhero movies, American Vandal to all other documentaries that take itself too fucking seriously. Mm-hmm. Were they all drew the same? Do they have different size, length, girth, and balls? Timo, all I can say is all of that gets explored on this series. Literally every single question you ask there gets addressed. So please let me know, Timo, what you think of this series. I don't care if it's 2 a.m. Fucking message me, find me privately. I want to know, because more than anybody, I think Timo, this might be one of your favorite things you ever watch on television. Too. People that watch my show know I don't usually say things like that. I always undersell. I'm always like, yeah, it's all right. It's not going to be for everybody. And I'll say that about this too. It's not going to be for everybody. But if you're asking those kind of questions, Timo, which I was too, this is going to be the series for you. What are you, Bushnell for a reason? I like that. Who drew? Did you see the New Zealand mockumentary about vampires? It's hilarious. Can't go into a club until security gives him permission. I have not seen that, Johnny, but I definitely will check that out at some point. I love I generally do like mockumentaries when they're done well. Sometimes I think I'm not the biggest fan of like the other Christopher Guest documentaries, like the Best in Show and the Mighty Wind, is that what it's called? I know a lot of people really like those movies, but I think that goes too far. Not too far, but it's just like, okay, it's the same tenets of it. It's just the same old mockumentary. And I think, I think in sometimes when you see things being mocked or spoof movies or whatever, it's the same kind of thing over and over again. And American Vandal felt fresh to me as a mockumentary, like an evolution of the mockumentary, in the same way that Spinal Tap, when it first came out, felt fresh, and then you saw a lot of things doing what that did, which I assume after the success, if American Vandal is a success, you're going to see a lot of people doing that. And to the fact of where I was like, I should be doing this, I should make a mockumentary like this or something, or do mockumentary podcasts. And I guess I kind of did with the Game of Thrones theories thing, with the fake theories, where it's like, oh, yes, and the sex will happen, and this sex will equal a entity that will take over Westeros or something, something to that effect. So, see, I even like doing shit like that. So it makes sense that I would enjoy a series like this. Did that old lady say penises? Yes, she did. That old lady saw a dick for the first time in decades after that vandalism. I volunteer to be the dick detective. Mike says, the private dick, if you will, says Mike. The bush now. Angela says, I think you'll be like Sherlock of dick investigation. Timo, dick detective. T-Demo, dick detective. Phil, looking good with the shave. Now get a crew cut. I'll tie it back, I can show you some pictures. I can show you some on the next podcast. I'll try to bring you a picture of me when last time I shaved my head and clean shaven. The dick pool. Yeah, it's the dick pool of documentaries. I think I've got big balls. I've got big balls. They've got such big balls, and they've got dirty balls, and he's got big balls, and she's got big balls. But we've got the biggest balls in the wall. If Phil cut their hair, there might be riots on the podcast. I wonder how many subscribers I would lose on that day. No, I would more put it up in some fake wig, like make it seem like I cut my hair. So like do some shit like that, or the well, we're gonna be like, "Hi everybody, I'm Phil, the issues guy. I've got issues." Mockumentaries work best when the humor is subtle yet serious. Exactly. Big, small, perfect, fits in hands. Surprised you didn't use Dick Tracy. Well, the balls hairy trim. Were the balls hairy, trim, saggy? I don't want to ruin something for you, but let's just say ball hair plays an important factor in this documentary. There is just too many puns. So one more time, because I just enjoyed watching it. What the fuck? What the fuck? Screen? Why? Oh, there we go. Okay, my computer just had a schizoid embolism for a second. I was like, Phil, don't do this to me, Phil. Let's watch this documentary, this trailer one more time.
It's just not the way I thought things were gonna go. I was gonna graduate high school, get my degree in like engineering. I know I didn't do it.
It is a shocking scene for Hanover High teachers today. The Vandal spray painted obscene images on 27 cars.
Oh my God.
I'll never understand what's so amusing about penises.
Everyone thinks I did it. Everyone.
Dylan definitely did it.
Of course he did it. He's like a known dick drawer.
Another day, another dick.
The evidence, it's overwhelming. I spoke to expel Dylan Maxwell for vandalizing the vehicles.
My name is Peter Maldonado, and I believe there are legitimate arguments for Dylan's innocence.
Ball hairs.
The ball hairs.
They're different. It's just one piece to the puzzle. This is gonna take way more than just ball hairs.
They say he deleted the security footage.
There's no way.
He is the stupidest kid I've ever met.
He's trying to convince you some sort of conspiracy. There just isn't one.
Oh my God.
Everyone got secrets.
The administration has something to hide.
This isn't about dicks. This is about the justice system.
He didn't stand a chance.
All of you, stop filming right now!
They got the wrong guy. I mean, there's still someone out there.
Hashtag who drew the dicks. So, help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. There you go. So yes, great fucking series that I'm very excited to watch again. I might start watching the series again just to go through it. So many fun moments. Something occurred to me in the middle there, or just it does take itself ridiculously like dick straight serious at times. My favorite part of the entire series, though, are the reenactments. They do this CG like computer. You know, when you watch documentaries, they do the map. This is how things would have happened, and they show you on this big like computer simulation of it. The computer simulation of this one particular thread that they go down, and you see a clip from it in the trailer with the two people sitting on the pier. It's just so fucking funny. And again, last thing else, I just cannot recommend this series enough. Please watch it and let me know what you think. Even if you don't like it, even if you're like, Phil, you're an idiot for liking this, it's stupid. But I would love to hear what you guys think about this series, American Vandal. And I think on that note, Phil is dictating us to watch it. I like that. Yeah, I'm watching this. Barrel of dicks, please. Yeah, exactly. If you found, again, someone mentioned earlier, I think it was Alan. Welcome, Alan, who's in the live chat right now. oh, is this like the Superbad thing? If you found that section of Superbad funny, specifically, if you found, this is gonna break you. The series might break you. It's one of those things I laughed so hard in the first couple episodes. It was still funny in the back half, but I like worn out my laughing, but I couldn't stop watching it. That's why I want to watch it again. Just to kind of rewatch some of the moments that it's like 4 a.m. and we can't turn this off. Must watch this till the end. I'll try to say that one more time. Must watch this till the end. Whew. It's getting tougher and tougher to talk every single day. So, what have we learned today? No, we learned that the Orville is, for my money, getting a little bit better in episodes 2 and 3, specifically episode 2. And I'm hopeful for a couple of more really good episodes along the way. And I think we're going to get some duds, and we're going to also get some good ones. Vice Principals is back. If you liked season 1 and you didn't know it was back, it's back. Season 2, episode 1 has been released or was out on HBO and is on HBO Go right now. Very, very funny. And I'm looking forward to that season ending, that series ending, and seeing where they go and where they decide to conclude. Season 2, episode 1 might be my favorite episode of Vice Principals of all time. And then American Vandal. If you're into dicks, you better fucking be watching this. No, good series, great documentary series that if you're into or have watched Serial or Making a Murderer or any other, or have an affinity for dick humor or mockumentaries or just documentaries, it's a must fucking watch. Open your mind, Quaid. No, watch this shit. It's amazing. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back on Sunday evening to talk about Star Trek Discovery with Joe Dirtylocks at about 10:30ish or so. But I will also be back next week a bunch of other times to talk some more Star Trek stuff and random other conversations. Also, I hope to get back to Game of Thrones stuff next week with our first character profile, but we'll see. It'll either be next week or the week after that. And also on October 7th, we have a music trivia competition coming up with, finally can confirm that, with Matt, Craig, and Alan. Matt from the Sopranos streams, and my cousin Craig and his twin brother Alan will be facing off in a rock music trivia competition of some sort. Also getting a lot of suggestions for the next music band breakdown or artist breakdown. I think the most requested one, if I'm calculating like everyone that was requested, is probably Zeppelin. I think most people have asked for the Zeppelin one, so I don't know exactly when, but as of right now, Zeppelin will be the next one of those to happen. So yeah, I got to do. What's interesting about Zeppelin, and I'll get into this more in the conversation, that unlike some other bands, Zeppelin, I'm more familiar with the music than I am the story. And whereas someone like the Beatles or Floyd or even some like a band like Fish or a band like some of the other or Pearl Jam or Nirvana, or I was gonna say some of the grunge bands, like I know their stories better. With Zeppelin, I only really cared about getting to know about Zeppelin, how awesome their music was, getting every bootleg I possibly could to hear every live version, because every live version was different. So it's going to be fun going back and actually doing some research about the history of Led Zeppelin, because I think some of the things I know are more myth rather than fact when it comes to like the first time they all jammed together, the introduction of Plant and Page and how that all came about, and Bonham joining the band, how that all came about. So Zeppelin will be the next one that will be popping on in sometime too. So everybody, let's go to the live motherfucking chat and say some fucking goodbyes. Nirvana, Britney Spears, Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses. Worst character. Wait, I'm on for a Cersei profile. You fucking trolling me? No, you're not on for a Cersei profile. That's gonna be a different podcast, more individual. You're not on for a Cersei profile. You're on for a bullshit Game of Thrones feedback show. Not a bullshit, but like feedback, taking questions kind of show. But Cersei is first. Stranger Things will be drawing dicks, not tentacles. Mind blown. If you have a penis or know someone with a penis, then you'll love it. The pilot from the Orville was drawing dicks. The Zodiac killer of cock artistry. I live on a green river right here in Auburn, West Virginia. Or, oh, no, it's not West Virginia. Is that, what's WA? Is WA Wisconsin? Not Wisconsin, it's WI. Washington. Fuck, I'm an idiot. WA is Washington. I don't know my state abbreviations. I know all 50 states. I know Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana. I don't have to finish. You know I can finish. But I don't know the state capitals, and I don't know abbreviations well at all. Oh, bullshit, my specialties. Hashtag fuck Cersei. No, I wouldn't do that to you. Broke's going to be on that one, though. I'm going to get Broke leaving a couple messages about Cersei love. But everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this afternoon stream. And these Friday streams will continue as long as I can make them possible. And even when I do end up going back to working, what I do is I go to... I'm like more of an event person. You know, I'll go in, do an hour or two event, and then come home. So hopefully... in perpetuity, except for on certain rare occasions if I'm away or something, these Friday morning / afternoon streams are going to be forever. Ever. Or at least I'll be back next week. So everybody, thank you so much for joining in. If you haven't already and you enjoyed this video, Wisconsin, New York. Wait, New York? What? But no, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I will talk to you guys next time for more fun, more silliness. And, yeah. As I'm looking for a fucking song to play. Play me out, you motherfucker. It's time to go. Let's get a little hippie action this afternoon. It's hippie, trippy, kippy times. Thank you to everyone in the live motherfucking chat for joining me throughout this live stream. You guys are awesome. And anyone who's left, Angelo, Gary, Ian, Johnny, Mike, Nymeria, who's popping in here right at the last minute, Timo, all of our good friends. I have to also say to Nymeria, watch American Vandal. Now, if you like dicks in documentaries, watch American Vandal. No. Everyone, thank you so much for popping on in today. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you guys on Sunday night after the Star Trek Discovery premiere. So much fun as always, Phil. An awesome chat. Have a great day. Nymeria, great to see you in there. Great to see everyone. Why can't I just pick a song? Pick a song and play it, you dirty bumhole.